Hi, you're listening to the My Body, My Story podcast.
That is why I love tattooing as well. And that's a big part of me and why I've done it for so long. And people's stories. Like, you literally are under some people's skin.
This is the 45 over 45 chapter, where we celebrate rule breakers and role models, the women who inspire us to live life our way and to show their sensuality, beauty, soul, and true essence. I'm your host, Selena, and I'm interviewing 45 women over the age of 45 while they're sitting in my makeup chair and getting their makeover for the project's photo shoot. Here we talk about what it's like to be 45 plus, adjusting to the changes that come with time, and we'll listen to the stories of our participants. If you have an interesting story to share, we'd love for you to participate. You can email us on info@alexandrawalker.com, and that's Alexandra spelled with a KS, or visit our website alexandrawalker.com.
Hi, Danyelle.
Hello.
Thank you very much for joining our project, and I'm looking forward to your interview because you are a very interesting person and I have a lot of questions to ask. And let's start with the simple one. Just tell us a bit about yourself.
Okay, I'm freshly 50 now. The big 50 in August. Mother of 4 amazing humans. I'm a tattoo artist on Mid-North Coast. And yeah, life is me.
Simple, short and simple.
Yeah, like this.
Very modest. So tell me, what are you most passionate about?
Definitely my kids, art, my garden, my cat. Like taking photos of flowers and just living life as best as I can with what I've got.
I know that you mentioned that you are a tattoo artist, and I have a lot of questions I want to ask you about this because I think it's a real art, and for me it looks like magic. And I think it's I want to connect this question with another one about the body image. So first of all, I want to ask you, where do you think the idea of perfect body image comes from?
I think that's in our own minds and how we perceive ourselves and in relative to other people. I think there's a lot of comparisons. I think society puts up a lot about body image, but ultimately it comes down to how you think and feel about yourself and how you compare yourself to what's around you or to others.
So, and connected with this question, I want to talk a bit more about the role of tattoos in the body image. So, I have a lot of questions. How, why people start doing that, and what is the meaning?
How many hours have you got to this interview?
Just what comes first, like.
I think, okay, so people choose for themselves to get a tattoo, and for what that reason is unlimited probably. So I can only speak for myself personally and where I work and how I've been working. But a lot of people get tattoos because they just like them and they want one. And then within that, it's could be for a keepsake, memorial, a dedication, They just like animals, or they just like flowers, or there's so many different reasons and why people get tattooed. So you can even go as far back as tribal tattooing.
Mm-hmm.
The art form of tattooing is so old. It's, you know, a part of our society and humans for thousands of years.
But if we're talking about this tribal tattoos, I think they were signs of or tools for identification, you know, and differentiation, like one tribe from another, and for I don't know, is it the right word, like a military purpose, like to show the enemy or to frighten them.
Another thing, like with your questions, I guess, I mean, if you ask the same question to a room full of tattooists, you would get so many different answers from different perspectives and things like that. So as an art form, it's just been in our society for thousands and thousands of years. So whenever that's changed, then the art form's changed. And, you know, you've gone from hand poking tattoos now to machines are wireless. Like even technology, like it's such a layered thing.
What I'm interested is, like, it's quite it's a permanent thing. I know you told me that you can cover one tattoo with another in case of like the person changed their mind, or but initially the person has to decide to cover the body or skin with images or with signs which will be permanent. Like it's something which you wear, like you cannot erase it. You cannot, you can theoretically, but
yeah, I mean, there's technology now that you can get laser and tattoo removal and things like that. So there is removals out there that can fade off tattoos, and I mean, I have seen it and heard it, and then yeah, you have people that do cover-ups as tattoos, which is I love doing them. As like if people come into the studio and they're like, oh, I need a cover-up, and no one wants to do it or try and cover up, they're my favorite tattoos to do.
Yeah, so just tell me a bit more, because I think it's a quite a difficult skill, you know, to cover up the old tattoo with the new one.
Yeah, and you know, the way a lot of those cover-up tattoos too, they're old or names or images that people just don't want on their bodies anymore, or it's just not who they are. Like they've changed. They might have got a tattoo when they were teenagers or in their 20s or something, and now in their 40s, 50s, and it's maybe not appropriate, or it's just they want it gone. So yeah, it's just inks are different now as well, machines, techniques, all of that sort of stuff plays into it. Skin, like the quality of the skin, the actual tattoo itself, what colours have been used, and if it's blown out, or all sorts of stuff. So yeah, cover-ups do present a bit of a challenge for the artist as well. And yeah, it's an art form where you kind of get one shot at it, as you know, as well. So there's all the challenges of cover-ups, and but like we change their minds.
How many times you can cover tattoo? Like, for example, one she or he has one tattoo, you can cover it. So how many layers you can do?
Oh, yeah. Well, that comes down to healing time in the skin, and each tattoo would be different. But that is a bit of a joke. I've had a few tattoos where I've done a cover-up of a cover-up of a cover-up. So yeah, they're onto about the third thing, or they've got the tattoo and someone said, yeah, I could cover it, but then it doesn't cover it properly, and then they don't like that, and then you've sort of got to try and work with what you've got there and cover it up again. And Yeah. So it's kind of like, oh, well, painting over a painting over a painting over a painting. But it comes down to skin tone and tones of colours that you use as well. So when it gets really, really dark colours, that can be a little bit more difficult. But in saying that too, you can research it if you want, but there's people that do white over black tattoos, so you black out a whole area and then that hardens up a bit and heals, and then people have been putting white and colour like over that. If you do search it up yourself, there's amazing artists that do amazing things with cover-ups and fix-ups. Like fix-ups is a big thing too. There's a great surge at the moment too of blast overs and people putting other things over tattoos but then leaving little old bits sticking out, and that's part of the tattoo. Yeah, people I've seen just blacking whole pieces of themselves, like not mentioning anyone, but yeah, so it's another thing. Like, it's your skin, it changes with you, it moves with you. And I mean, the oldest person I've tattooed has been 93, so
is it like a fashion thing? Because I remember you mentioned that it also differ from city fashion, differ from country.
Yeah, so within the art form itself, you have different styles of tattooing that people will gravitate more to and like those sort of styles. So I guess you could say it is a fashion thing. So you have people that really love realistic looking tattoos. You'll have people that love neo-traditional tattoos. You'll have people that love black line fine, black and grey. People that love colour. So it's definitely a reflection of who they are as a person and their style and what they like and things like that.
But do you think there is an influence of the society or like the area where you live? Because I remember you said like in the country is more fashionable to have the one type of tattoos, like the sleeve, the flower, the floral sleeves, and in the city is something different. Or within the group of the people, if they influence you to have a certain tattoo. So I'm leading it to the subject of body image, which influence by society.
That's really interesting. So I guess since when I first started tattooing, there wasn't so much of social media. There wasn't social media. And so you could walk into a tattoo shop and pick flash off the wall and just you picked a tattoo that way. Mm-hmm. Now you've got social media, Pinterest, Google Images, all this sort of stuff. So it has, for me personally, and again, I can only speak for myself. So if you had a room full of tattooists, you'd get all different answers. But it is very interesting how popular tattooing has become, and people bring in the same reference pictures that are like the top photos on Google or the top photos in Pinterest, or they might pick a particular style that they like, and the same reference images will always keep popping up, or copying other people's tattoos or things like that. So it has been interesting over a long time watching tattoos and how tattooing has become more popular and mainstream, and yeah.
So I suppose it can be divided, like tattoos out of the fashion because everyone is doing that and it looks cool, and tattoos which means something, like the name of kids or events which are not more of a fashion but more meaningful. Like, is that right to say like that? Or
yeah, I mean, I think that's the most amazing thing, and what I love so much about tattooing is that everyone will do it for different reasons. Every day is different. So you could go into work one day and the first person's getting a sleeve adding onto their sleeve or something because they really like a wolf, for argument's sake. Then the next person's come in and they're getting a full sleeve of roses and clocks that represent each kid's birth time and date and this and that. So tattoos for each person is still a very personal thing, whether it's just because you want to look cool or it's a date of your child or a memory of someone that's passed over, or each tattoo is a very personal thing. And I love the ones that come and go, no man, this looks cool. There's no meaning. Not every tattoo has to have a meaning to it either. Some people just really like tigers, or they really like this or that, and then the very next person will come in and will give you their big life story, and this could be the tiniest tattoo, but it will have so much meaning and a big life story behind it. And it's the world for them. People in times of grief will come and get tattooed, and so personally, again, I'm only speaking for myself, for some of clients that I've had, I have been their first port of call after they've lost someone. So sometimes you're not only just sitting there in the capacity of a tattoo artist, you're there as a friend, a counsellor. Yeah, there's this sort of like trade sort of joke of your tattoo rates are 150 an hour, counselling rates 200. You have people that will sit and get a tattoo, and you'll find some will just sit like this, not say a word. Others will just tell you their deep, dark secrets. And there's things that people have told me over the years that I'll take to the grave. So in like cases of grief, people are hurting, or grief as in it can be a loss of a loved one, a child, a relationship, anything like a grief. They're hurting so much and they're numb that sometimes the tattoo and the pain of the tattoo makes them feel real again. And then you've got to actually care for the tattoo afterwards, and it scabs and it does its process. So there's that whole, they're hurting, they can actually feel something again, and then they have to take care of themselves. So there is all different processes in tattooing as well that I don't know if a lot of people realise or talk about or stuff. So the few clients that I've had that I have sat and cried with, I don't know how the fuck they're still standing with what they've gone through. And so it's a very big privilege and honour sometimes that you're with this person in that moment and you're tattooing them. So you're working, but you kind of, I don't know how to explain it, but you kind of like this person that transitions them through to something else, and then they physically have this thing on them that you've been a part of, and that is why I love tattooing as well, and that's a big part of me and why I've done it for so long. And people's stories, like you literally are under some people's skin in more ways than one.
Yeah, I can relate because I have same with the stories with the women who come to the photo shoots. I remember really early in my career, this woman, and I recall this story a lot to people, and I get goosebumps every time. So she
came, because where we used to work, there was sort of like this little gate, and she was meant to go to the other tattooist, but something happened and she came to me. And this is where I strongly believe sometimes people will cross over paths, and I'm meant to tattoo people, and I've always believed that from day one. Anyway, this lady came in and she just wanted this tiny bird. I was only fresh into tattooing, really had no idea. And she laid down and I did this tiny little bird, and she started crying and sobbing, and it wasn't from the pain of the tattoo. Like, she was going through big full-on stuff. And I didn't know what to do. It was the first sort of time this happened. And then, anyway, cut a very long story short, this little bird, I put so many different colours in it and everything, and this whole energy was coming out of it. It sounds crazy, but anyone that knows me will know what that, you know. Anyway, so I'm tattooing her, and I could feel all this really yuck stuff coming. And in my head, I'm just going, I just have to put this back in you, but somehow make it really positive, like transfer, I don't know. So that's my whole thought while I was tattooing this lady. And then at the end of the tattoo, she was still crying and everything. And I remember I was like only in my early 20s. And I said to her, I don't know what's going on for you, but I just want you to know that from now on, you're just like that bird. You're beautiful and you can fly free. And she just burst into tears, pretty much just handed me the money and left. I was like, what the fuck just happened then, kind of deal. Anyway, so a few months later, I got this postcard. That's back then, snail mail. I got this beautiful little postcard, and there was a fairy on it, and it was called Vivian the Fairy, of all things, which totally tripped me out because that's my middle name and no one really knew that. Then I flipped it over going, what is this? And this lady had written me this card and said, you probably will never see me again, but I needed you to know that my time with you and getting that tattoo, I came back, I packed on my stuff. She left a domestic violence situation. The dad had molested. Like, this is all in this card. Totally told me all this stuff. And she finally got enough to pack up, do it, and she moved to the other side of the country. And that was in one little postcard sent. And that really hit me of like, wow, what am I doing? What am I really doing here? There was another lady found her daughter on the streets of the Cross and pulled her off, got her home, got her healthy, got her off drugs, and she brought her in, and all she wanted was a little star. And I remember tattooing that on her and saying to her, whenever you feel like you feel you're going to that dark place again, remember you're a star in this and you have to keep going. You have these opportunities with people, and it's only in that moment that you might never see these people again. And my early days were in Byron Bay, and it was the late night, like it was the 90s. So like the late 90s. So if you could keep me in the 90s of that summer forever, I would be so happy. But there were moments where you just were with these people. And I think, again, if you had a room of tattooists, we'd all have these monumental, gut-wrenching stories of human kindness and something in that moment when you're tattooing some of these people. So every aspect of and emotions of humans can be reflected some way in a tattoo. Someone might come at you from loss, someone greatly in love, birth of children. Do you know, like everything that we feel as humans can be put into art. And it's not just tattoo art, there's music, there's all. That's why the collective creative people are so important in all society.
Yeah.
And that's the guy that taught me to tattoo years and years ago. Like, he's passed over now, and I am always eternally grateful and loving for it. He said, doesn't matter if you're doing a back job or a tiny little tattoo, like, everyone is the same. They've come to you and they trust you to do that tattoo, and they really want it. And yeah, it's you have to get one. You have to get one.
No way, no way. Because I heard that tattoos can change life. Do you believe in that?
Yes, I do. I believe that they can. That's the one thing that I traveled 3 states in 5 years and had so many people tell me that I could never, ever be a tattoo artist, ever. And so I just the magic of tattooing, and I just wanted to have a go at it. And actually, he only just died this year as well. And I remember my first year of tattooing, and John tapped me on the shoulder once and he said, "You've lasted a year. You'll never leave it." And he was so right. But also too, that first tattoo that I ever did was because I did it on myself as well.
Oh wow.
Was a real decision that I made for myself that I'd have to live with for the rest of my life, and it was probably one of the most amazing, empowering things I ever did. But that question of they can change you, and I think unless you do go through the experience of it yourself, you don't really. It's hard to explain it. There's people that will only get one and only ever get one their whole life. And then, there is those ones that will get one. I have a bit of a joke with my clients, and you just know. They've come in and they've got their first one, and you just know, and it's always a bit of a joke I have with them. I said, I'll see you when you're going to sleeve one up. And they go, no. And then sure enough, I've got one fight just recently before lockdown. She's like, no, I'm only getting one. And she's already hassling me now in lockdown going, so when we open again, can I?
So you think it's an addiction most of the time? Why is that? Why?
Well, I think a lot go into it and they're a little bit scared of what the pain is, or what people are going to, maybe not so much now, but, what people think. Or, I mean, I have 60-year-old women that still are hiding their tattoos from their mums, So, but, I think there is that bit of a, I love this. I like the look of it. I like the feel of it. I like how, people like how it makes them feel. But you physically, okay, you can change your hair, you can change your clothes, technically you can get a tattoo lasered off. But really, you decide to do that, you commit. You commit to something for yourself.
Yeah, because for me personally, why I'm not doing one, I was maybe 5 years ago thinking of that and think, what is that I want to put on my skin forever? It should have a really some big meaning for me, so I want to live with that for the rest of my life. And what is that? And I didn't feel the urge, to engrave something in my body. And it's the one thing, and to do a tattoo just for the sake of doing that, it's not interesting for me. And the second one, how does it change your life? Because I know that all the marks and signs on your body, somehow I believe in that it changes. I see people, I have friends, a lot of friends with tattoo. I have a friend who does very dark tattoos, and I can see how his life is changing in the dark way, he did some.
Is it the tattoo that's changing him, or is he changing and he is using the tattoo to reflect that part of his personality?
An excellent remark. Yeah. That's an excellent remark. It just made me think from the different angle. Maybe you're right.
So you've got to take it, like tattoo art is art, and it's a way of expressing something that's within. And this is what made me come to mind as well. I remember a guy coming in and he wanted a tiger on him, and in conversation with him, I said, so why of all things did you pick a tiger? And he had to go in for some pretty severe surgery, and as he just about went under, the last thing that he heard was that he needs to be as strong as like a tiger. And he came out of the surgery, and this guy was like 60 odd, never got a tattoo before, never. And he said, I just want a tiger. He'll probably only get one tattoo ever, but he just needed that to remind him to be. So I think the magic for me about tattooing is it is something that is in your subconscious, conscious, whatever. Even people that just walk in and pick something off the wall, there's something that's making them want that. Even people that just sleeve things with images or they think it's cool or whatever, they might not necessarily know, but there is something subconsciously coming to the surface.
It's very
You've got a start background, so you know where I'm coming from. So I think that as an art form, it is an expression of that soul. And because it's in a physical medium, you're carrying that with you. So I could talk to you for hours about all this sort of stuff. I really get on a soapbox with it, and I go off on tangents and have 50 million different conversations about it all. But for me personally, again, I don't know about anyone else, but I was very lucky and very blessed very early in my career to meet amazing people that I do believe gave me the foundation of magic in tattooing, to respect tattooing. And I've always said it to young tattooists and people, look after tattoo and tattoo will look after you. You have to honor what that essence of tattooing is, and it could be going back from tribal stuff. Like there were places you only got tattoos as a rite of passage. You look at the oldest tattooist in the world, and it's a woman that you have to trek all the way to, and you might get to the end of that trek and she'll go, no, I'm not going to tattoo you. Like there's honor and respect, and there's like it's potent. It's very mainstream now, and shops everywhere, and it's great, and Instagram and all of that. Like the world of tattooing has changed, but I think the essence of what tattoo is, that's the big thing for me.
That's cool. I love this conversation. It's really interesting. You just actually made me think about this subject from different angles I never thought of, and I will take it with me to think over. Do you teach young artists how to tattoo?
Well, I mean, we get hit up all the time about it's an apprenticeship sort of thing. So yeah, and you again, have we got hours? There's the other girl that I work with, there's just two of us. It's just we're just two females in a studio, and both her and I have been doing this for a very, very long time, and we did it old school way. I even still remember inks being made with pigments and acetone, like acetate stencils, and how you used to make needles by hand. There's none of that anymore. Everything's like is all pre-made, chuck it out, da-da-da. So yeah, when people hit us up to do an apprenticeship, it's quite interesting because we wanted so bad to tattoo that we did it for pretty much nothing when we first kicked off. And they were the good old days of like morals and ethics, and you shook someone's hand and that was your word. And it was I was in the era of the trade where it was sort of secrets were passed down one-on-one, and that real old school apprenticeship kind of deal, which isn't really like that anymore. Anyone can go and buy a kit on eBay and start. And like I'm sure if I was really young and really, really wanted to get into it like I did back then, I would probably do the same and be buying stuff. And, you know, I actually did when I first started and found out it was the worst thing I could have done, and actually handed it over to the president of the Tattooing Association going, oh, my God, I'm so sorry, I didn't know. So, yeah, it's just crazy how young people just can think that they can get it for nothing and not put in effort. We've had a couple of people try with us in particular, and it was like even cleaning floors was, oh, do I have to do that? It's kind of like you're not going to be an Instagram rock star tattooist in the first month. Right?
Yeah.
But that, you know, that's just our experience that we've had. It's like, or like you'd find it in your profession now. Oh, I'm going to buy a camera. I'm going to be a photographer. I'm professional.
You know, funny enough, I also have a lot of requests for teaching, but I always say no. It's just because my answer no so far was because I was doing it more by intuition than by rules. You know, like I have to explain how camera works. I don't know. You know, seriously, I don't know how camera works.
And that is so, like that's so with me as well. Is like, I can't teach anyone to draw. Mm-hmm. I can't teach. I have a laugh and go, like the guy that actually taught me to tattoo, he couldn't even draw, mate. Like it was such a funny joke. So I've always argued the point of like, yeah, it's the person. The person's gonna want it or do it regardless. Like I had people tell me that I'll never be a tattooist, that I had to, that's even a funnier story. But it's just, I think it comes down to each individual if they really want to do something.
Yeah, it just comes within. Yeah, like it's your individual feel, look. It's how you see it. It's an art, yeah, like how you see it should be.
But it's also, it's not a job. This is my life. This is a lifestyle, not, I don't clock on, clock off.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting, this lockdown in particular, like the last one that we had for me, I was kind of glad for the break. I was pretty tired and a bit over it all. And this one, and even thinking, well, we could come out of this and all the restrictions. I'm like, oh my God, I actually really miss it. I miss that. Mm-hmm. And even though I was doing 6 days a week and the grind and, oh my God, I gotta go to work, as you do. I've really, really thrown me this one, my whole thing of I miss actually tattooing.
Doing it, yeah.
Doing it. Which has been an interesting few weeks, I have to say.
I'm in a better position here because I have my husband and I can photograph him as much as I want. So probably you cannot tattoo your kids as much as you want.
No. I've been painting, which is good, but I don't know. It's interesting. And yeah, it's just been an interesting month all around, I think. Hitting the big 50 and then lockdown, just questioning lots of aspects of my life.
So what was the biggest challenge you're experiencing at this age now?
Oh, I'm not being able to fucking do what I want to do.
Well, this is lockdown, okay? It will finish eventually. But
in general,
general.
I actually, no, like I said to you last time I saw you, I've been hanging to turn 50 since I was 40. I was very excited about turning 50, and that never changed. It's interesting, the actual arrival day. But, yeah, there's definitely been a big shift since I have officially turned 50. And whether that's just a mental thing for me or, yeah, it's like, I don't know. I could go out tomorrow in a big bang and everyone around me would know I've lived a fucking great life. I've got amazing kids. I've done a lot of things that a lot of people haven't done. And I'm very lucky and grateful. And I'm okay to go, which I know I'm not going to go tomorrow, but there's this sort of ease and comfort, and it's just take me how I am, or whatever. Like, I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated I can't go to work. I'm frustrated I can't go and see my friends that I want to see, and I think the whole world has changed. So how we all come out of this, I don't know. That's a little bit scary. But then at the same time, I'm like, you know what? I've travelled, I've done. Yeah, there's this big shift of acceptance, I think. Big just acceptance of day by day, whatever. Wake up and go.
Yeah, learning to live here now, yeah, be here
now. And be, yeah. Yeah.
So,
that's why it's interesting, because this interview we're doing now versus those photos you took of me, I already know I'm completely different.
Yeah, because for those who we did mention that we're doing this interview a few months apart from the actual photo shoot, because like we were recording it as the first version wasn't recorded properly. So it's been a few months after you and you change.
Yeah, like I shaved my head and
still didn't.
I still haven't told anyone I did it. I told my daughter, one of my daughters, and that was she's moved back home. And so I think she's the only person knows that I did a photo shoot with you. I still haven't told anyone.
Yes, I remember you said that I didn't tell anyone, and then should I tell my daughter that I did it? I remember that. Yeah, it's interesting. So I have a few more questions for you, like which I haven't asked yet. Everyone knows that with age we change. But what positive changes have you experienced with this age?
Like I said, just more of an acceptance of who I am and my place in the world. Not stressing so much about stuff. No, I wouldn't say regrets, but just, yeah, I guess just do what you want to do more in the moment than kind of worrying about things you can't control.
That would be your advice to 30 years old self?
30 years old self. Oh, God. They're probably listening, but 30 years, at 30 was my first child. I was pregnant with my first child. So my 30-year-old self, not listen to so many other people's bullshit. Don't compare. Don't sort of compare myself. Research, learn, educate. And yeah, live in the moment, but also take good care of yourself, yourself, like health-wise, mentally, physically. At 30, I don't think I'd like to be 30 again now, to be honest.
Yeah, me too. I'm happy with some things. I'm not happy, but generally I'm happy with what I am now.
Like that question is saying, like, that age thing. I'm getting happier as who I am as I get older, more accepting of myself and situations as I get older. And whether it is that wisdom thing or maturity, or, I mean, I don't think I'm very mature, but it is really hard to explain, isn't it? I think there's an ease, is being more comfortable in your own skin as well.
Yeah, that's what I feel as well. So what advice would you give younger women who will eventually undergo this age changes?
Again, don't compare. Like, trust yourself, know your own value and self-worth. Just be true to yourself. Educate yourself. Just don't take everyone else's word as being the truth. Like, educate yourself and know your own core belief, and that trust in yourself. Then you can't be wavered, sort of thing. And yeah, like I said before, really protect and look after your health in all aspects, mind, body, soul. Like, and again, coming back to that body image and compare, like, be your own healthy, be your own happy, be your own style. Like, yeah. I think if I had my time over again in a lot of aspects, I would have just tried not so hard to be like a few other people when I was really young. And we all do it. We all do it. And there's that pressure to be certain things or certain ways. Just listen to your own, like, that spot in you that no one else hears except for you. Listen to that.
Absolutely. So what does it mean for you, feeling good and looking good? What do you think comes first?
Oh, you got to feel it. If you feel it, you'll yeah. I reckon some people can probably spend a fortune trying to look $1 million, but if they feel like crap, they're crap. But if you don't really feel it in that spot,
yeah.
So definitely you have to feel.
So what makes you feel the most beautiful?
Just in those moments where I'm okay with me. And it could be doing the dishes. It could be just laying in the sun. It could be those mundane things. And that was, I noticed one of your questions was a good quote. Find the magic in the mundane.
That's your favorite quote about?
Find the magic in the mundane. Yeah. When you first interviewed me, it was absolute refusal of betrayal. I still like that one. But yeah.
You can use both.
Yeah. But that's probably when I do feel my happiest, is just in those really simple moments where you just go, oh. And it's like, I couldn't go anywhere for the big birthday or whatever, and I was like, said to the kids, look, I just got to do one thing for myself, and I'm getting up and I'm going to watch the sun come up. So I did. I went down to the beach and sat like it was dark, and I did watch the sun come up. And like I said to you at the beginning, it was the most amazing, beautiful sunrise I've ever seen in my entire life. and it will be with me for the rest of my life, however long that is. And I remember sitting there and watching the sun and the clouds and just these rays, and I must have just planted right in the middle because the rays just hit me at dawn sort of thing. And I actually sat there and cried at how beautiful nature was in that moment. And then I was just, you know, the lockdown walkers, and not one person looked. It tripped me right out. Like, here I am just sitting there and no one looked. They're just marching up the beach doing the thing that they're meant to do. And this lady, no shoes, she's heaps older than me, no shoes, walked up, and she didn't even see me. And she was walking and she stopped and she looked and her whole body relaxed. And she took a photo. She stood there for a bit longer and then she kept walking. And I went, yes, there was one. There was one that just saw a glimmer of what I just saw.
Enjoyed
yeah. It was just, yeah. And that was it. I was just like, wow, just be really, this is it now. You've made it. I didn't think I'd ever make it, but yeah. I made it, and just from this time on, just enjoy the moment. But yeah, it was pretty. That's one of my hashtags on my Instagrams: nature nurtures, or be in the moment, or whatever.
Talking about your Instagram, and I forgot to ask you, and maybe someone would like to find you as a tattoo artist, where they can do that. What's the name of your art place?
My Instagram is at Miss DVJ, pretty easy. And then I've just on Facebook I have just my Danyelle business page.
I will tag it into the post when I post the interview.
Thank you.
And you are located in?
So at the moment I am in Warhope, mid-north coast.
Because I remember you said you had 2 places, right? Or now just...
No, the owner there's the owner of the studio I work for, he's got 2 shops, but I'm at Wild Karma Tattoo. Mm-hmm. So I'm Wild Karma.
Perfect. So I will put that in description with for the interview. And I so enjoyed our conversation today. And I know that's not enough time to ask you everything and discuss this.
And I have a bad habit of going off on tangents and a million stories within one story as well.
Yeah, maybe you will decide one day to do your own podcast about tattoos. So you can tell all your
stories. Gosh. Look, I am lucky enough to know so many different people in the tattoo industry, and there's one guy in particular at the moment in lockdown. He's been interviewing and doing his own stuff about all these tattooists that he knows, and a few that I've watched, because I used to know, I first met him in my 20s, so, and that was over in London, and it's just been funny that like all these years, sort of, you know those friends you have on Instagram and Facebook and stuff, but he's doing all these things, the lockdown tattoo stuff, and he's just brought up so many memories. It's just been so good. The tattoo industry has got so many colourful, amazing people in it.
And you're one of them.
I'm just a speck in that, to be honest, like just a speck. If you're really into tattooing and tattoo art and the history of tattooing, there's hours and hours and hours you could spend watching and asking questions and talking about it. And I'm truly blessed and just so grateful that it's been a big part of my life, and all the people that I've met and tattooed, and it's, It's a big tapestry of colourful, amazing moments. I'm really, really lucky.
Well, I think we're lucky to have you on our project. And
oh, thanks.
And
I tend to waffle a bit, but thank you. It was pretty crazy how we met.
Mm.
That was just a flippant, oh yeah, let's kill
That's how all the great things happen usually.
That's why with your photos as well, like seeing them all lined up, you've captured in photos so many different aspects of my personality as well.
Yeah.
That's what amazing photos. Thank you so much for having me.
And thank you very much for joining the project. And hopefully we will keep in touch for longer than the project lasts.
Yeah. Come on, I'm going to be your 50-year-old supermodel, aren't I? I said, get up.
Thank you very much, Danyelle. Thank you.
All right. You take care.
If you have an interesting story to share, we'd love for you to participate. You can email us on info@alexandrawalcott.com, and that's Alexandra spelled with a KS, or visit our website alexandrawalcott.com.